What's going on? I'm Sam, and it's day 2 of my new production job. I gotta stop at the shop real quick, so I'm taking Griffin because he was so mad that I left him all day yesterday. So I did get to spend a little bit of time with Griffin in the morning, but now that I'm back at this machine, since I had, I think, purple in it yesterday, we're changing colors today, which means I need to purge the existing color. So to do that, I added purge material to the hopper, and I'm gonna extrude it. So the mold that I need is not here. So in the meantime, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I already got the machine prepped. I already got a whole bunch of material mixed up. Okay, I guess I was wrong. I am missing some molds, but not the ones I thought I was. So I found the one I needed, and I'm gonna start production. I've been doing this nonstop. I have gotten a lot faster, but these molds are now getting so hot just from the really fast cycle time that they're getting hard to handle. I was gonna go home after I run out of material, but my biggest problem right now is money. So if I have a chance to stay and make some more, I guess that's what I'll do. So everyone's gone for the night. I should be able to take this thing off. I guess I can explain what this thing is and how it works. So the first thing we gotta do is mix the plastic, which is gonna be the plastic itself, mixed with a little bit of pigmented plastic to get the color right. This is done by weight, so I'm gonna weigh out the plastic, and then the pigmented plastic, which I believe should be the same type of plastic, but I'm not the one that bought it, so I'm not 100% sure. That's just what I was told. So right now I'm looking to get about 2% by weight. And then it just needs mixed together and I can add it to the machine. So I got color and regular. And then this stuff is ready. But I'm gonna do it 3 more times because I add 4 cups of this at a time. Tomorrow I'm gonna come back with 3 bigger containers so I can mix it all at once instead of having to mix it 4 times, which is really adding to the time it takes to get this done. So all the purging does is make sure all the old material's out before I put in the new material. Since I'm not switching the type of material, I'm not sure if it actually needs the purge material. I haven't really read the instructions, so since I'm only changing colors, I maybe don't need to use the purge material, or maybe it still helps. They told me to use it, so that's what I'm doing. Now that I filled the machine up with plastic, I need to get the mold ready. It was getting really warm, so I let it cool down a little bit, And now that it's cooled down a little bit, I'm gonna spray it with the mold release. I've been spraying it every 100 runs or so, and it seems to be working well. It might not need it quite that much, but that's what I've been doing. Then I put the molds together. It has this weird wedge-shaped mold holder where these are our actual molds. It seems to work pretty good. I've never seen this style of injection mold before though. Then I slide the mold in, turn on the pump, and then hit both buttons at the same time. Now this is a safety feature so that one hand's not going to be in the way of the hydraulics and you get it cut off. It's kind of nice. At first I didn't really like it, but when you're doing this mindless, repetitious thing over and over again, you do zone out, and if you put your hand there and then hit the button without thinking, it could end really badly. So having the both buttons smack is pretty awesome. There's a manual mode that I use for purging this, and that explains the functions pretty well. There's the extrude, and in auto mode, extrude will extrude the material until the limit switch is set. The amount of material that goes in is adjustable by this screw, so you can adjust it so that more material will go in, and that way the injector will be loaded with more material in case you have a bigger mold that you have to inject. I'm going to try keeping this pretty basic because if I get too complicated, I'm going to say things wrong because I literally just learned about this machine and how it works yesterday. So in auto mode, when you hit both buttons at once, again you have to hit both because of the safety. What will it do? It will inject the material into the mold. This fills up the mold, and then what happens is called like the extraction, which is actually the screw unwinding and filling the barrel with new material. This also gives the mold a chance to cool off. You can set the cool off time for longer or shorter, but the shortness of it is limited to how much material has to be replaced. If it takes a lot of material to replace, you'll never get the cycle shorter than the amount of time it takes to replace that material. So that gives it a chance to cool off a little bit before the cycle's closed. So you can adjust the cycle time, which is how long it takes to kind of cool off, and also the time that it takes to inject the material into the mold, which is pretty quick for this because if it's too long, it's going to cool down in the cavities before it reaches the actual parts. So right after it injects and cools down, it releases. There's wedges that are pulled up by these long rods, and once that's pulled up, it releases the mold. I can take it, split it apart, get my parts out, put it back in, and then inject it again. As far as I can tell, there's about 3 stages of hydraulics that make this thing work. The first one is the top one that pushes the actual extruder down onto the mold. The second one is the one that actually pushes the material into the mold. Then there's a motor that's wound that gets the new material into the barrel. And I'm pretty sure that's it. The barrel's pretty cool. It actually has 3 different heaters that are adjustable on PID loop controllers. So I've been making adjustments to that. I've been making adjustments to the cycle time, the injection time, and the amount of material that's put in, because I'm kind of in charge of figuring out how to make this go the easiest, quickest, and fastest and best looking parts that are possibly possible with this machine before the machine's upgraded to a giant machine, which might show up at my shop a little later. So even though this shop is very super repetitive and I'm getting paid way too much for it. Someone could do this for a lot cheaper than I'm getting paid. Okay, let me interject right here. So I just said I'm getting paid way too much for this job. Let me kind of clarify because that sounds bad out of context. What I meant to say was I'm getting paid too much for the production aspect of this job, because sitting at this machine, I'm probably getting paid more than double what someone would normally get paid, but that's not my whole job. My whole job is streamlining the process, learning it, and getting them ready for the next step. So in that regards, I'm not getting paid too much. And when you compare it to my actual hourly rate, I'm actually charging about half of what I'd normally charge, and that's for in-shop rate, let alone the travel rate. I would be charging them probably about 3 times what I'm getting paid right now, plus travel, and I'm not even charging them travel just because I really like this company and I want to move forward with them into the future. There's some opportunities for me later on. I'll get into that in other videos. But yeah, my original comment is about getting paid more than someone normally would just to sit at a machine and run parts. But that's not my whole job here, because I am improving the process, learning it, and I'll be expanding upon it later on. We'll get into why I took it, why they offered it to me, and what I'm going to be doing with this in the future in another video. That's probably going to be in tomorrow's video. There might be one before that. That's probably going to be in tomorrow's video. So they expected me to do this in about 1.5 minutes or so per cycle. The first day I was able to get that to just about 1 minute and 10 seconds, which they thought was pretty good, and I'd be able to get it down to 1 minute. But today I was able to get that down to 30 seconds a cycle, and that's pretty consistently. I was even able to get that down to 25 seconds for some cycles, but when I'm running this, as long as I have material in the hopper, I'm running at least 30 seconds or less per cycle, and then when I have to refill the material, that's adding on time. Mixing material doesn't really take that long, and of course the more you mix at one time, the less time it will take overall. The worst part about doing this is the fine aluminum dust that's been getting all over my hands, all over my camera, and even all over my phone case. I've had to be really careful about touching these parts as little as I can. I've already run like 4 times as many parts as I did yesterday, and tomorrow I should be running double the amount of parts that I ran today. I've gotten everything kind of nailed down. I've gotten pretty consistent, and there's nothing else for me to do other than sitting down and running parts, which is the worst part about this job. I like the troubleshooting, the figuring out. I don't like the production. But I am getting paid to do this, and it is going to provide me with some really cool opportunities going forward. So I really can't complain about any of this. And I'm making some money. The reason I haven't really said exactly what this is yet is the company asked me to kind of limit what I let out about it. I should be able to let more and more out as time goes on, but they're only able to fill pre-orders right now, so they don't want a whole bunch of orders coming in yet. But when production really ramps up with their own machine versus this tiny college machine, I'll be able to talk all I want about it and tell you guys to go buy it, maybe even giving you some discount codes. But I've been talking long enough, so I've been creating some really bad cycle times for me, probably the worst cycle time since I started. So it's time to start going into this full production mode again. The worst part about this thing is the nozzle. It's equipped with a no drip nozzle. I think something's clogged or not working right because it's definitely dripping. Every time I walk away, there's just all this plastic that's gushed out. So the quicker that I go, the less that it drips and the cleaner it is. If I wait too long, I have to just start cleaning all this plastic drippage. Well, it's really late and I just ran out of material, which is good because now I can go home. The way I know it runs out of material is the extruder will spin without moving, and then all I have to do is add some more plastic to the hopper. The plastic moves into the barrel and then the extruder starts moving again. When any pieces get stuck, I have to remove them, and this takes a lot of time. And to start with, a whole lot of pieces were getting stuck. So I fooled with everything and I got it to where pieces are hardly getting stuck, but if they do, I still have to take them out manually, though I got the time down significantly on piece extraction, where most of the time everything comes out as one piece. There still are a few pieces left behind, though now it's maybe 1 in every 15, versus when I started it was like 5 in every 1. So now that the settings are perfect, I'm just running normal production. And every time I run into a problem, I try and figure out how to overcome it. So I've got a ton of parts made today. When I go home, I'm gonna break every single part off and separate them like I did yesterday. I have so many now, this is gonna take forever, but at least I can sit down and watch TV while I'm doing this mind-numbing work. I cannot get this aluminum powder off my hands. Seems like it keeps getting caked into my skin deeper and deeper. Every time I wash my hands throughout the day, it ends up coming out worse and worse. So I don't know how to get aluminum powder off my hands. So I think I need to start wearing gloves. The only thing with the gloves is it's gonna slow down my time a little bit because I won't have the dexterity. But I've been burning the tips of my hands a little bit on some of the hot plastic. And I don't like all this aluminum powder, so a little bit slower production for a better work environment is probably okay with me. I did get a ton of these made today. It is super late, so I'm gonna go home. I have an hour and 15 minutes or so of a drive ahead of me. Griffin's sad because he has no idea why I'm not with him, so I gotta get back and give him some love. Anyway, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one. Griffin. Did you miss me? So after scrubbing for a long time with a brush, I got my hands pretty clean, but I need to remember to take a brush with me tomorrow, so hopefully throughout the day I can keep them clean. What is that?